We're here to put Britain back on the food map.
We're on a mission to save fantastic British produce from extinction.
But we need your help.
Essential ingredients that have been here for centuries
are in danger of disappearing
forever.
Together, we want everyone to get back to British culinary basics.
And help us revive our fabulous,
magnificent,
mouth-watering, unique
and utterly delicious food heritage.
Great British Food Revival is back.
My name is Raymond Blanc. I'm completely passionate about food, about cooking, and of course about fresh ingredients. For too long, we have taken the produce grown closest to us for granted. I really feel that the British consumer can create a small revolution with the farmers, with the chefs, with the retailers to create a food chain which is responsible. I want to help Britain rediscover one particular fresh produce. I'm going to focus to a fruit which is very, very close to my heart, the plum. Plums have been cultivated in Britain for over 2,000 years, but today we are importing 4 times the amount we produce. UK plums production is falling. In an effort to revive this wonderful food, I will be asking growers where they are leaving their plums to rot.
I'm not going to grow a crop where I cannot guarantee a profit on.
And I will be getting stuck in making pork pies with plums. I'll show you, okay? I'm a very competitive man, don't you dare, okay? And I'll be in the revival kitchen showing you what amazing and delicious things can be done with plums. Bon appétit. I may have been born in France, but I work and live in Great Britain. And it was in these gardens that I first learned about the diversity of great British produce. My garden is vital to me in my cooking, but it wasn't always as well maintained as the garden you see today. When I first bought this house, it was actually pure wilderness. There were grand elder everywhere. It was just a jungle and dead Brussels sprouts, as big as that, looking at me in a disapproving manner. I was very scared of that space. And I put my papa on it. And it took him 8 months to clear it up, to prepare it. And a year after, we created the garden here. I'm very proud of it. It's the very heart of my cooking, completely. In that little kingdom here, that's where everything starts. I am currently expanding the gardens to include a spectacular orchard. I've already planted 1,000 trees, and in the spring, I will be planting plum trees. For me, it is so exciting to know that from April, we will have all these new plum trees in the orchard. By the end of this program, I want all of you planting at least a tree in your own home, and I will give you the recipe how to cook those plums. Promise. But while I'm planting plum trees, the rest of the country actually are pulling them up. Incredibly, Britain has lost 65% of its plum orchards over the last 25 years. In the same period, the number of imported plums has more than doubled. Supermarkets source their plums from abroad. We must rediscover the huge variety and great taste of British plums. Together, we can restore the plum as an important part of our national heritage. Before its taste is a lost memory. I think the British plum are fantastic, and there are so many varieties that you can accommodate in your cooking, okay? And I think we should save them. We need to look after them, we need to protect them. You need to help me to save it. To start my revival, I'm heading to a centre for British plum growing, the Vale of Evesham. Here, plums have been an important part of the landscape since the 14th century. Like many places in Britain, the Vale has lost 80% of its orchards since the Second World War. For those that survive, the threat of destruction is as serious today as it has ever been. Paul Dansby has been growing plums all of his life. But today his crop is not worth the price of picking, and it's left to rot on the orchard floor.
I grow fruit for a living. It is my bread and butter. I am not going to grow a crop where I cannot, as much as possible, guarantee a return, a profit on.
How many acres of plums did you have way back in the 90s?
We up to 50 acres at one time.
And now?
2.
And 2 more?
If my son has his way, they'd be all out tomorrow.
Once sold for jams and preserves, today the only market left for British plums is a fresh market. But selling to retailers has highlighted a problem with the British plum, the British weather.
When the plum tree wakes up after the winter, it comes into blossom mid-April. You've only got to get 4 or 5 degrees of frost between then and June. It can do tremendous damage. In 89 and 90, we had 5% and 7% of a crop. 90% of the plums in the Valley of Evesham disappeared in those 2 years because you can't live on nothing.
And have you got any subsidies from government here?
No.
None at all?
No.
So the British growers are really left high and dry, really. They have to fence for themselves. This inconsistency of supply was not acceptable to the supermarkets.
Had 2 years with no plums, and the 3rd year they say, well, you didn't supply us with plums last year, you didn't supply us with plums the year before, why should we come and support you now? We've got the plums from France that we've reasonably satisfied with, we'll carry on that way.
So you're saying, when there's a frost, okay, and your harvest is whipped out, okay, you count your losses, but after, they should come back to you, should they?
Well, I hope they would. I hope they would, because they want to support the British grower and know that British fruit is better.
Only in Britain would you place reliability over quality, heritage and locality. But things are changing. Consumers, chefs, retailers are reinventing our food culture, and we want to grow our own food from our own region, our local food, to support our local growers. And I think this is a big change at the moment. And
I hope you're right.
Is there any way to benefit of that? How to create, which kind of movement we could create so these trees can be there tomorrow and for the next century? What can we do?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew.
I think food now is not separated from our culture. It is part of our culture, part of our consciousness, and that is new. I'm not a pessimist. I think the British revival of plums will be there, will happen. I want to show you what a fantastic ingredient plums can be. My first recipe is a perfect way to preserve the Vale of Evesham plums. I'm going to cook a very simple rustic country pâté with a fantastic plum chutney. It's very rare you will see a Frenchman cooking a chutney, never mind a wonderful plum chutney. That's pretty rare. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to take a nice big fat chopping knife here. Ooh la la, dangerous thing. Carefully chop an onion. And believe me, the skill of a chef is not measured by how fast he cuts his onion. Grate some fresh ginger, then put a gentle heat. Voila. Add cinnamon, star anise, and cardamom seeds. I'm converting the starch of the onions into sugar. Meanwhile, as well, all the spices in here, the ginger, the star anise, create a gentle exchange of flavors. That's perfect. Add sugar and vinegar to act as a strong preservative. And you can keep this chutney for years to come, for your grandchildren to enjoy it. Put a date on it and say, I have done it. I, Raymond, I have done it, or Charles, or Maggie, or whatever. Then prepare the fruit. Start with apples, leaving the skin on. The apples are there to support the flavor, because the dominant fruit, of course, is the plum. The plum is has got actually more character and certainly more acidity. Stone the plums Then add all the fruit to the pot. Beautiful taste of autumn, beautiful smell, beautiful colors. You cook it between 1 hour and a half, 2 hours. All the fruit will collapse, the flavors will merge into a fantastic, rich, plummy, delicious chutney. Leave the pot uncovered and stir every 10 minutes until the fruit has a jammy consistency. So all what you have to do now is to pot it. And I love this kind of food that you can prepare, that you cook during the summer and enjoy during the winter. It's reenacting a very old ritual. That's how we used to eat. And there's something so beautiful and almost sentimental. I get very emotional about this. I'm serving my chutney with a simple pâté. Plum chutney here, ready to be served with my pâté de campagne. And there you have magic. Really, you have magic. Simple magic. Bon appétit. I'm staying in the Vale of Evesham to visit another plum orchard, but this one is backing the trend. You'll find no plums rotting here. The grower here is buying up plum trees to increase production. He clearly has a positive view of the future of British plums. I am meeting the man in charge, Bob Bird. There are less and less plum orchards in this country. That's a fact.
That is a fact.
But you seemed yourself to have bought orchards, plum orchards. So what is the secret of your success? I would like to know.
I've always worked on the principle in my business life that if lots of people are getting out of a particular product, then that's a good time to go into the product. So I looked at ways and means that we could capitalise on the fact that lots of people were going out of plum growing and that there was surely a demand for good quality British plums.
Bob's plums have a significant advantage over the competition.
We have a huge sales business behind us, which sells produce from Land's End to John O'Groats every day of the week.
So what you're doing now, what you are effectively doing,
we're tapping the whole of the UK.
You are producing, you are marketing, and you are delivering your produce.
We are indeed. We're doing what the smaller Evesham grower in particular was not able to do.
It is reassuring to know there is still a market out there for this great British fruit. But I cannot forget Paul's plums rotting on the orchard floor. So many small producers have gone against the walls, have lost their business. So is there a future for British plums?
I'm backing my faith in the future of the British plum by showing you that we are actually planting orchards. This orchard was planted about 12 years ago. We're actually going to plant another 7 acres this autumn because we fervently believe that it is a great product. I mean, when you look at that, when you see every plum at over 40 millimetres,
look at that.
looking absolutely beautiful and lovely, you know, it is a great product. It eats well, it looks well.
I think you don't have to convince me. I'll be certainly the one who will go up there, and pass the message to my chefs, pass the message to the consumer, pass the message to anyone who will want to listen to me. When I see food this beautiful, I must photograph it.
There we are.
Show me your beautiful plums.
Yes, right. There we are. Oh, beautiful.
Voilà, great.
Voila.
Wonderful fruits, you know, all what you want to do is to cook them, cook them, plum them, puree them. Plum revival is not just based on how we grow our plums, but how we use them and how we create a demand. I'm meeting a lady who, like Bob, is taking the taste of Evesham plums to the nation. Lucy Rollett sold 30,000 bottles of juice from her little van last year. And it is a Pershore plum pressé that is one of her best sellers.
It started off as a hobby, then it went into a business because we just kept growing and growing. And now part of what we do is about drinks that shape our landscape. It's lovely to work with local growers, to have fresh plums that haven't travelled miles. I can go and pick the plums and they come in fresh that morning. And all that is really part of our business, which is lovely.
Lucy is really celebrating this wonderful food. And as a local girl, she's also celebrating her home.
I grew up playing in orchards and it's one of my loveliest childhood memories. So to go back and pick plums in an orchard is just one of the best jobs I ever do.
I think it's so refreshing for me to hear an English lady talking about their own terroir, about their own country, about your own heritage, about your own food, and cooking them as well. I'm the happiest man on earth at the moment.
I want my children to experience that as well, and it's for future generations.
Because our children won't see those orchards tomorrow if everything goes on the way it is going. Okay, Evesham won't have those orchards, and that would be a sad day. It might be small scale, but Lucy's innovation is using plums that might otherwise have wasted away in the orchard.
Raymond, would you like to get me the glass jug and we'll get
yes, chef.
a mixture ready?
Yes, chef, of course. The plum juice is strained and mixed with some sweet elderflower and water. Then it is ready to taste. For the plums to live forever in Evesham.
Here,
Shall
here.
we?
Yay!
Santé.
Santé!
Voilà.
Voila!
I'm truly inspired meeting Lucy and her family. Using her local plums, I want to share with you one of my own family recipes. From time immemorial, the pig, and particularly pork, has been associated with plums in every single world culture, because it makes sense. It's a perfect communion. The dish I'm about to do is a roast sirloin of pork stuffed with dried plums. The plum we're going to do is actually a Victoria plum. What I'm going to do now is to dry them, half dry them, so to remove some of the moisture, to concentrate the texture, to concentrate the flavor, to give that pig a serious, glorious day, okay? Stone the plums and place them in the oven on a very low heat. It's a fantastic little trick because you can do so many things dried, so many fruits, apples, pears, all sort of incredible food, okay, which gives a totally different new dish, new ideas. After 2 hours, we have created a whole new ingredient. And what has happened here, you notice they're discolored, they're a bit dried, it's normal, okay? And the texture becomes much more chewy, much more firm. And that's what you have, and that's what we want. It's exactly what we want. Otherwise, if I was stuffing this pork with fresh plums, it would be a disaster, really, okay? Create a pocket in the meat for your dried plums. It's very much a builder's job. It's nothing to do with cooking. Very simple. That's a very old dish from my mum. Okay, that's really a classic from Raymond Blanc, definitely, for a long time actually. And I had the pork, but of course the French would use a different plum. They would use pruneau d'Agen because of course the French use their plums. They use their orchards. Secure the meat and salt the fat before heating oil in a pan to sear it. Voila, you can hear a very lovely searing. It's not too strong, it's not spitting away. The fat is not burning your house, okay? As the joint is sealed, prepare a baking tray. I'm using brown pork bones, just as my mother showed me. So the heat just travels nicely around, beautifully around. Equally, that creates a fantastic jus, naturally, just with a bit of water. Rest the meat on the bones and cook the sirloin in a hot oven for 30 minutes. Then, turn down the temperature and add water for the gravy. When the joint is cooked, leave it to rest for a further half an hour. So whilst it's resting, the temperature, the heat is dynamic. It's got a proper energy. The cooking goes on. I am adding some dried plums to the sauce before I carve this wonderful joint. The smell is quite amazing. Remember, that's one very old dish from my family. Yes, I hope you really enjoy it. That is delicious. Either the pork is extraordinary, or maybe I'm a very good cook. I don't know. Tell me. Just 8 miles west of Evesham is the town of Pershore, and that's exactly where I'm going now. Pershore has a long connection with plums, and my first stop is at one of the oldest orchards in the area. I'm meeting John Edgley from the Vale Landscape Heritage Trust. What a beautiful old trees. They look as old as me. What kind of orchard it is?
This is very much an orchard that is here to preserve wildlife but act as a gene bank for the old varieties of plums. We don't use any herbicides or sprays. We allow the grass to grow long, and we cut it down just before harvest. There's a lot of dead wood in the trees, and that in turn encourages the very rare noble chafer. And this area is one of the areas where you'll find the noble chafer.
Noble chafers are tiny green beetles. Just like the orchards, they are on the brink of extinction. Traditional orchards are not the only way plums can teach us about our past.
Another interesting aspect of plums is that the stones are peculiar to the variety, so they're like a fingerprint. When the Mary Rose was raised from the Solent, they used the national collection, and so they're able to identify the 500 stones that were brought up, which included Mirabelle's, your favourite, and
one of my favourites. I love Victoria as well, remember, okay?
But other plums that were around at the time of Henry VIII.
Yes.
So they're able to identify them by using the stone collection.
Yes, because what we forget about is, of course, an orchard is not just about food. It's not just it's about one's heritage, history as well.
Very much so. And of course, people in the Vale of Evesham, they expect to be able to drive around here and see orchards. And early in the spring, when we have the blossom, then we have people coming from far afield just to go on the blossom trail that we maintain around the Vale.
I still believe how we use plums is key to any revival. I'm heading to the centre of Pershore, where a local butcher is making the most of his regional crop. I'm just looking for Ken. Where is Ken? Where is he hiding?
I'll go and get him for you.
Thank you very much. Putting plums in anything he can, Ken Tallis is truly celebrating Pershore plums. Ah, Ken.
Raymond.
Pleased to meet you, sir.
Pleased to meet you.
I know you are championing the plums Pershore.
Absolutely right.
How?
How we've made Pershore pork pies, we've made Pershore sausage, which we use Pershore plums. Would you like to come round and try
I would love to try, okay?
Okay.
The magic ingredient in Ken's plummy products is that famous Pershore plum sauce.
We've taken the plums from Pershore, we've taken the spring onions from the Vale of Evesham, and what we've done, we've stewed it down, a bit of spice, a secret ingredient, which I'm not going to tell you.
I would bloody tell you.
Okay, you'll know. And then we've stewed it all down, and we've got this lovely mixture now. Lovely
I want to
mixture.
find the special ingredients.
Okay.
I know what it is. Easy.
Go on.
Love. Lots of love. Eh?
Lots of love, lots of passion.
We're making the Pershore pork pie. We're mixing the plum sauce with some minced pork shoulder.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect.
So a little question for you. I don't understand. If I was you, I mean, you're going to throw me out of your shop. Okay, I would add some beautiful dried plums.
Yeah.
To have that lovely sweet, chunky texture as well. And again, you have more.
We could, yeah. That's a good. We can try that. We can try that. Something we're always open to new ideas.
I may speak with a French accent, but I can make pies with the best of them. Yours
Practice makes perfect.
10 out of 10. No, it's a bit dodgy. Okay?
No, this isn't too bad. It's
like
not.
I'll show you. Okay? I'm a very competitive man. Don't you dare. Okay. Allez, start.
Yeah. That's not too bad, is it? Not too bad.
He's a bad loser as well. That's 10 times better. The pies are ready for the oven, and I can't wait to try this regional delicacy.
Try that.
Oh, lovely. Very good. What you are doing here, this is the very best way to revive an industry, revive a craft. You are using plums in so many ways. What you're doing is fabulous. So bravo.
It keeps everything local, it's regenerating the plum industry, and it's regenerating rural crafts.
But I would like to see those dried plums in here, okay?
I think
so
I'll definitely take you up on that.
So you can double your order. The revival is running out of time, but I have one last chance to get you salivating about British plums. Of course, I could eat my plums as they come. Au naturel, they are so delicious as they are. Or I could do something quite extraordinary. Very simple. A little shortbread, homemade shortbread, melting and crumbly, then stewed plums on the top, and a beautiful plum sabayon. I can assure you that is something very special. I found the plum to be the most delicious fruit. Tasty, so many ways to cook it, so many ways to accompany it with different spices, different flavors. They go with savory, they go with sweet, they go raw as they are. So please, must eat your plums. You must, and support these fantastic orchards, okay, all across Great Britain. In this tempting dessert, I'm using two plum varieties, the classic Victoria and the very British Marjorie seedling. I could cook them like that, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to macerate them. And that's reminded me of my grandma, seeing her, just macerating all sorts of different food, like an alchemist, okay, in her part of the kitchen. It was such a beautiful scenery to look at. This woman knowing so well about food. Mix the plums with sugar and lemon juice. Often the sugar, if you add it at the end, it stays outside. Whereas here I want the sugar and the lemon to permeate right at the core of this plum to give you a true plum experience. Then add a dash of plum liqueur. Of course, food has got such a strong connections with memories. Okay, and I always remember my grandfather doing his plum alcohol. In the past, of course, in France, distillating was done by everyone. It would be wonderful to see the British growers try to get more licensing, okay, to create their own liqueurs. It takes about 1 hour for the lemon and sugar to work their magic. Look at this wonderful golden jus. That will add 40% more flavor to the dish, and I say 40%, so it's worth macerating your food before. You add that much more to your experience, okay? Put the plums onto gentle heat. Actually, I'm going to put a tiny amount of pepper, just to set it up, to lengthen the flavor. Can add a lovely little je ne sais quoi to your dessert. Then cover and simmer. So the heat is slowly, quietly cooking them very nicely, still firm. Okay, it's not boiling and stewing everything. Okay, because I want the fruit whole enough. It takes just 4 minutes to create the perfect cooked plum. Oh, look at these colors. Amazing colors. I can assure you, try it. Try those recipes and you will fall in love back again, all the way back again with plums. I'm serving these plums with a delicate shortbread. Parfait. Then a simple sabayon. And that is seriously good. Whisked egg yolks, sugar and dessert wine makes a perfect partner for my plums. Top with icing sugar and then glaze. The final touch, some lovely jus. Now, the reward, okay, the tasting. Let's see. Should I take the marjorie? Should I take the marjorie seedling here, or should I take that wonderful, beautiful gold Victoria? Ah, God, it's difficult. Eh? Okay, let's go for this beautiful Victoria here. Perfect. Oh, soft. It is lovely. It's definitely a dish you must do at home. It's a must. And when you're cooking that little plum dish, not only you are giving lots of joy to your family, but you're also preserving your British plum orchards for future generations. I do believe that local produce in local food can transform communities. So to spread the joy, I've arranged to meet an old friend and give the people of Pershore a taste of what their plums are capable of. Pershore plum juice, please, for the people. To good health. Thank you, Raymond. To the revival of the plums. Voila. Oh, yes. Fantastic, eh? It is like champagne. Look at that. Ooh la la. Ladies, thank you very much indeed. Plum from Pershore, please.
Wonderful.
I think it's fantastic to see the good people of Pershore lining, and queuing to have this lovely plum juice.
If my revival has captured your imagination, then why not visit the National Fruit Collection at Brockdale and taste the 350 British plum varieties. Of course, you could always plant a tree and raise a glass of your own homegrown, homemade plum juice, wine or even liqueur.
It has been an incredible adventure, and on this journey I have met so many committed people who want to save the plums, and I feel so privileged, even as a Frenchman, to be part of this revolution.